What would you do if you are leading a team and you got a call on a Monday morning asking you to come up with a list of people either to let go or to downsize within your team? Well, today I'll be talking about the Great Resignation, and I'll be giving you my point of view as a millennial working woman in terms of what I think could be the underlying reasons. If you have no idea about the Great Resignation, stay tuned because that's exactly what we'll be talking about in this video. Hi, my name is Linda, and I created this space for career women to have authentic conversations about work and life. And I'll also be sharing social media tips for agribusinesses because that's what I do in my 9 to 5. So hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my weekly videos. If you're new to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, the Great Resignation is being called the Big Quit. So far, 4.4 million Americans have already quit their jobs this year, and it's anticipated that 95% of those still in the workplace will be looking to change their jobs. Interestingly, women are the ones who are leading with the statistics, and that is something I can completely understand because being a working woman myself, I completely know what it would mean or why a woman would actually be looking to leave their jobs right now. So a month ago, it so happened that I got a call and the company was going through its own internal issues, of course being COVID times, and I was asked to actually give a list of people to retrench in my department. So I just did not feel like it was the right thing. I looked at myself, I looked at the salary I was at, I looked at the team, and I opted for a voluntary package. And I think the most heartbreaking thing that I've ever had to encounter in my career was having to tell my direct report that she no longer has her job. This, I completely broke down. Looking at a young, ambitious lady who really has so much going on for herself, so much fire, so much passion, breaking down and crying and feeling so worthless simply because of a business decision which really had nothing to do with her, but it was a business decision that was made. I honestly have never had to encounter something so heartbreaking. And in this video, I'll be sharing 4 reasons why a millennial career woman would actually look to quit her job, especially right now. The first reason why a working woman would quit her job right now is simply because of burnout. I am a mother, I'm a career woman, I am a wife. The last 1 year has been the most challenging time ever for my family and my career. I'm used to handling high-flying jobs, but the fact that this COVID period, I've had to juggle with being a tutor. I was technically schooling my son from home during the COVID period, at the same time juggling with my new job, and at the same time I was still expected to do my day-to-day duties for the family. And honestly, this was so challenging because even in as much as there are some things you can say you can get support for, like maybe online schooling, there were some limitations in terms of having to work with my nanny for her to school my son. And having to juggle a high pressure job, having to juggle with being a mom, especially online schooling, and having to just juggle life with everything that was going on with the world and COVID, I could definitely see how somebody would reach a point of burnout. Burnout and mental health issues were reported to be the highest, especially this past 1 year, affecting women. And just the mere fact of burnout is something that I'm sure so many women can relate to. And I would not be surprised if many women opted to just take a step back from their jobs just to go back and regroup and do what they needed to do, which was at this particular point being a caregiver. While everything is seeming to go back to normal in terms of the COVID issue, clearly the fact that there's a great resignation and people are quitting their jobs, it's simply showing the impact of what people have had to go through and endure for the last year and a half, now coming to almost 2 years. So burnout is something that I strongly feel could really be impacting the women who are leaving their jobs right now, because if there's nothing else we've learned is that our health really is key, especially when we've had to go through this tough and challenging COVID period. The second reason why I feel women could be quitting their jobs would be because of the fact that they're simply looking for work-life balance. I think the fact that going through COVID, going through several levels of lockdown, having to witness some of your loved ones pass on, it's really changed how we look at life. I know personally I'm placing a lot more emphasis on the quality of my life. I'm placing a lot more emphasis on my relationships, on my friendships, on my family, because I've come to realize and appreciate just how fickle life is. And if you're having to deal with a job where you just cannot have that level of balance, I think it would really make so much sense for anybody to leave their jobs. And it was really one of the key considerations that I had to make, because when I was told to look for people to let go in the team, I volunteered myself. Because I looked at myself and I said, okay, I'm working this job. It's training me. I'm having to juggle with being a mother. I'm having to juggle with life generally. Let me go. Let me go. So that the other people who probably were there longer, I wouldn't have to sacrifice them for my own particular sake. So you may call me being, I don't know what word you may call it, but I just did not feel right sacrificing any of my team members. And for me, I know it would have eventually affected my mental health. It would have affected my outlook. And I knew the quality of life, the kind of life that I was working towards. And I decided to make that bold choice, make that bold decision to actually volunteer myself to quit the job, because I knew that my priority lay with just having a more meaningful life and more fulfilling relationships, and really just doing work that is meaningful to me. So if you have any comments for anything that I may be sharing, please drop the comments below. I don't know if you'd ever consider quitting your job. Have you ever thought about it? Let me know in the comments. The third reason why women may be walking away from their jobs is because of the internet. Honestly, there is so much potential and so much opportunity that the internet has given us, and more people are opting to freelance. More and more people are opting to do online businesses simply because they can. Like right now, I've set up my own online coaching business. I'm actually setting up my own online consulting business. There is so much opportunity that the internet has given us, and more people are looking at it as a viable option in terms of working. And to me, it makes so much sense, because we are seeing numbers for the gig economy rising each and every day. There is so much access that you can get. It's so easy to simply do your own online activity, and you're able to just control your time, you're able to manage your time, and you're able to manage your wellness. More and more people are, because I've even spoken to quite a number of people, even the lady who was in my team, she's setting up her own online business. And that's simply because we can. The fact that we can actually have the power to dictate how our lives is going to be thanks to the internet. I think more and more people are waking up to the realization that, hey, I don't really have to tie myself to a 9-to-5 job to be able to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. I can either change my skills, or I can upskill or take an online course and learn something and make money out of what I am skilled in from the comfort of my home, from the comfort of my laptop, and I don't have to deal with anything else that's going on. So the rise of the creator economy, that's what is being called right now is seeing a boom. And that's simply because people are craving freedom. People are craving pace. People are craving more meaningful work. And that is also being reflected in whatever is happening globally in terms of people leaving their jobs in search of better things to do with their lives and in a way that's more meaningful. The fourth reason why people may be leaving their jobs, especially women, is just they're fed up of the toxic work culture. Honestly, we know how work is, we know how corporate is. If my experience is anything to go by, you've seen how at the end of the day, for companies, it's really about the business. Decisions are made more with the business, and you can't really fault them because at the end of the day, they're running businesses, they have to be corporate. This last experience was not my first experience. I've gone through this kind of experience with 2-3 other employers, and I've seen how heartbreaking and how brutal it can be before they make the retrenchments and right after. Because remember, before any organization decides to let people go, there's usually a lot of anxiety and a lot of tension because people are trying to politically align themselves with the right people so that they don't get laid off. And then right after people get laid off, what I've experienced is there's still a lot of anxiety in the workplace. One, because people who are left there, they don't know whether they still have jobs. They don't know if there's going to be another wave of layoffs. And then there's just that level of anxiety because you've just seen somebody let go and you don't know what's going to come next. So that whole toxic work culture sometimes has an impact. I know a friend of mine who's actually going through depression just because of the tension and the frustration going on at work. And I think women are realizing, you know what, this is really not it. Let me look for an alternative. I can actually try to create something with my skills, with my passion that has nothing to do with dealing with the toxic work environment. And my advice is for anybody who's still in their job, please develop your skills. Develop your skills such that if anything happens to you, because clearly I was called on a Monday morning and I had to make decisions really quickly. If anything happens to you, you have something to fall back on. You have a set of skills that you can always fall back on. So the only way that you can make yourself layoff proof is not becoming the most valuable employee, but developing your own skill sets in the best way you can. The biggest takeaway is no matter how good you think you are, you still are dispensable. That's number one. And then the other realization that I've also come to see is by the time people are leaving a job, there's usually a slow build. People don't just wake up and leave jobs. It's usually because of a series of events that have been unfolding over a long period of time. Maybe they've had a conversation with you if you're a line manager like I was. Maybe they've spoken to a fellow colleague or to HR, but usually there's a very slow build that happens over a period of time. And such that by the time they reach a tipping point and they decide, you know what, I don't want anything more to do with this, I need to look for another way of living my life, it's because of a series of events that have been happening over and over again. I was having an interview with a recruiter a week ago, and we were talking about, of course, they wanted to know more about me, and I was sharing with them. And I got a feeling like immediately I told her that I took an exit package. She immediately turned it around and said, "Oh, you are retrenched." I told her, no, I was not retrenched. I took an exit package. Immediately she started asking, what was your salary? You see, her mindset was, I don't have a job right now. Therefore, I should be so grateful or willing to accept anything that she gives me. And that's not the case. In fact, I almost asked her if she knows what's happening with the Great Resignation. Employees, people in the workplace are taking back their power. As not everybody, but there's a huge number of people who are realizing their worth, and they know that they are skilled, and if they cannot find their way in the workplace, there is another way that they can still create a living for them. So as I was having a discussion with her and I could hear where her mindset was, I immediately told her, you know what? I am aware of what is happening in the market. I know my worth. I know my skill set. And just because I'm out of a job does not mean that you have the right to give me the lowest range within the pay scale. I'm not desperate. I know my worth and I know what I'm working towards. And you see, that's the other mindset shift that I feel many of the employees need to start taking into account of. And I'm so happy because I started seeing that some organizations are already looking at strategies to retain more people in the workplace because they value their people. At the end of the day, it's not another machine that comes to do the work. It's people. And the biggest thing, and I think the biggest challenge right now will be for any team leader, and I'm speaking because I know I am one, any team leader would have to really go out of their way to motivate and incentivize any of their direct reports, because more and more people are learning and realizing the fact that they can wake up and they can go build their whole lives, they can go and freelance, and they can go do gigs and still get paid for what they are worth. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more and more videos that I'll be posting mostly on Sundays, and let's have a conversation about this. Thank you.